Hello my friends, today was a monumental day for the mobile space, not just in Android but iOS as a whole. Today Google announced that you can finally Quickshare to iOS users / Airdrop to Android users, starting with the Pixel 10 series. This is huge. As we saw with iOS 18, that's when RCS was finally incorporated inside iMessage, and that by itself was a game changer, but there was still some areas that have some frustration when it comes to iOS to Android. A lot of fragmentation, or wall gardening as some people would say. One of those being Quickshare / Airdrop. It's always been a huge concern for iOS users contemplating switching to Android, as you do miss out on that capability. And out of the blue today, that is no longer an issue. This is arguably, ironically, how small it is and how under the radar it became announced. This is arguably one of the biggest updates that we've seen in a long time. You know, there's been a lot of families that I've seen on my personal side that will refuse to get an Android device because of these features that are incorporated inside Apple. iMessage was a huge problem, right? There was no really way of getting it besides having your Apple friend download a third-party app, and then that was a complete different story because now we're having to set up accounts, etc. Around the world, we did have WhatsApp and things were a little bit more simple that way, but in the States, it was a huge problem because everyone was defaulting to their phone number. It's just something that the US crowd does. Once that issue was finally resolved, the amount of individuals that had finally wanted to move over to Android was a huge number, and it's only going to increase. I've been calling it Apple fatigue, where people are kind of seeing the other side of the fence, the other side of the garden, people would say, and have been contemplating switching. You know, Android has a phone that fits nearly every personality, from gaming to camera enthusiasts to, you know, durability champ to fastest phone on the market. There's so many different venues that you can choose from, and people have been steadily growing more frustrated with Apple. This is a huge day for us because that is just another barrier that gets removed in the process from people wanting to have freedom to choose. Not only that, but like I said, families from around the world will benefit from this greatly. This is going to be an amazing update for international, for US, for families, for everybody. I'm not exactly sure why this became. I've kind of speculated with my colleague, and we're assuming it's having something to do with the EU, and this being another reason why Apple sort of has a lockdown on iOS doesn't necessarily help them in any favor, especially in court rulings. So we believe this is more of a necessary evil that Apple had to do in order to release a lot of tension that they have going on from, you know, other governments like the EU that are really cracking down on Apple and their anti-competitiveness. Nevertheless, this is going to be an astounding update for everyone, not just Android but iOS users as well. This has single-handedly created a new realm of sharing information within a matter of a day. And although it is starting on the Pixel 10 series as of right now, it will be rolling out to other phones very soon. So if you don't have a Pixel, don't worry. This is going to be worldwide regarding all of Android. I just wanted to hop on and create this video to express how monumental this is. This is a once in a lifetime thing that's going to happen. This is just another wall that has been taken down to create a more shared experience between everybody. And this is a huge update. I don't think Apple's particularly very happy about this because they didn't themselves announce this. This is something Google was very petty about and announced on their blog immediately after it kind of happened. But nevertheless, this is a great update, and this is going to be monumental for everybody and people to come. So that being said, if we look at the big barriers between Android and iOS, there's always been iMessage, Quickshare, and FaceTime. Those are the big three giants that have always kind of gatekept and kept iOS users being iOS users for the most part. RCS has done a great job on extinguishing some of that fire. There is the FaceTime link per se, where it does give Android users the capability to FaceTime via link, which doesn't really give the best experience, but it is something that they can do. Not only that, but it's not as hard as to get an individual to download Google Meet, or they may already have it due to, you know, studying or work related tasks. So that's kind of a barrier that's already been taken down. Also, not to mention, there is some, you know, social media platforms that give you the capability to video call. But the last big thing truly was Airdrop. And just a normal day, just a normal random November 20th, Google just drops this news to everybody, and it is huge. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you an iOS user, and is this persuading you even more to make the switch now that there's less fragmentation between the two OSs? How will this impact you and your family? Has there always been an individual who's been on Android or iOS? And how does this help you? I'd like to hear your story in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think. But until then, I'll catch you guys on the next one. I just wanted to make this quick video just to announce the news and kind of hurrah for everybody. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.